They all served in the global war on terror.
You ask yourself every day, what makes you special that you got out of there?
Still suffering from survivor's guilt and PTSD.
We're all big and tough until you're not.
But now these 59 Northeast Wisconsin veterans are united.
Share it with a bunch of other GWAT vets is going to be incredible.
On an Old Glory honor flight.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
A historic journey with a mission.
Healing. Some closure.
Over 3 days in New York City.
This is breathtaking. You know, this is one of the bucket list items to come see Statue of Liberty here.
The veterans visit famous landmarks and the 9/11 Memorial and Museum.
A lot of tears. A lot of tears.
Hearing from first responders who survived the terrorist attacks.
This is the moment where I thought it was over.
These men and women gain life-changing perspective about their service.
We went to war because of what happened with the terrorist attack that happened here on this soil.
A mission of healing accomplished.
I'm going to be thinking about this the rest of my life.
An emotional welcome home fit for heroes.
I was blown away by how many people were there.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jeff Alexander. The numbers are staggering and sad. Every year, thousands of American veterans succumb to suicide, losing their personal battle to invisible wounds of war. And many of them served post 9/11 in Iraq and Afghanistan. With that in mind, Old Glory Honor Flight came up with an idea to honor and help heal brave men and women from Northeast Wisconsin who, so deeply moved by the tragic events of September 11th, served this country during the global war on terror. Earlier this fall, that idea became a reality, and it proved to be historic as the first ever honor flight to visit New York City and the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. Here now, Freedom to Liberty, a mission of healing.
Hi, good morning.
It's time for check-in at Appleton International Airport.
They're going to need your photo ID, they're going to give you a lanyard and a boarding pass, and they'll have your seat number for the aircraft, okay?
Alrighty.
Chosen through a random drawing by Old Glory Honor Flight.
Morning. You're just going to follow the flag line around, or
These 59 men and women who served in the global war on terror know an emotional mission awaits them, likely triggering memories of how 9/11 compelled them to join the military.
I've been looking forward to this ever since I got the phone call. I think it's just kind of some closure. I was in 8th grade when 9/11 happened, and then 8 years later, I was in Iraq. So it means a lot to me.
The more I saw us, moving to Iraq, and some of the things that happened after that, really started to affect me. And I enlisted in 2004. I was still in high school, but I really thought it was important to do my part.
Ready for sacrifice after 9/11. But unaware of the lasting impact of the war that followed.
I just sucked it up and dealt with it, and now as an adult with kids, it's, you start to realize how big of a deal it was.
So everybody's got their own experiences and their own emotions, and I bet you a lot of emotions that you never even knew you had are going to come out, and it changed my life. I joined in January of 2000, pre-9/11 for free college money. That's all I wanted out of this, and here I am almost 24 years later.
Before departure, a prayer is said.
Please bless all that are on this special journey.
Amen.
And an honor guard presents the colors.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
As the vets enter the gate to board the chartered flight.
I was there 2003 when they were just building it, so it's kind of exciting to go back to see what it looks like now.
Anticipation and excitement builds as the veterans settle into their seats. Within minutes, the plane is soaring into and above the clouds, headed east. Once in flight, veteran Josh McFall addresses his fellow brothers and sisters.
It's going to be emotional. If you're noticing something, which we all know the triggers, we all know the signs. If you're noticing it, do something about it, step in.
And then it's time.
When? Will?
For something these veterans didn't expect.
You're gonna make me cry.
And yes, it brings many to tears.
Girlfriend and family sending me a lot of love.
Definitely a surprise to see my family wrote stuff. And you never see that. And then when you see it, you go, oh man, because it definitely hit home.
Old Glory's traditional mail call contains letters from loved ones.
To have this appreciation, from family and friends, but I have a brother in Korea and Thailand and all over the country who sent stuff in is really humbling.
The magnitude of this journey is becoming more evident.
And I'm sure it's going to hit a lot harder when we get there. Oh yeah, it's sinking in, and then seeing these kind of makes it sink in a little more.
On the ground in Newark, New Jersey, the aircraft receives a water cannon salute from Port Authority fire trucks. In the terminal, Port Authority officers greet the veterans.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guided by a police escort, 2 buses transport the veterans to a place most have never been before, Lower Manhattan and the site of Ground Zero. There's a noticeable bond developing, and entering the hotel, the resolve deepens to support each other.
Even though I've never met any of the people on this trip before, it's we're all brothers and sisters. We've all been there, done that, seen that, and get a real quick connection and become friends with each other immediately.
And they will certainly band together tomorrow when they visit the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. When we come back, a life-changing experience for the veterans in New York City. On the veterans' first full day in New York City, the heaviest rainfall in more than 80 years. And just as they're stepping out of the hotel,
Here we go.
the governor declares a state of emergency for flooded streets.
Look at how deep that is. That is not shallow water.
Used to braving the most extreme elements, monsoon-like weather won't stop these veterans from making their journey to the primary location they've come to see in the city, the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. On the Memorial Plaza, veterans take part in a wreath-laying ceremony to pay tribute to the nearly 3,000 innocent people lost on 9/11. Built to commemorate the terrorist attacks, the 9/11 Memorial features 2 enormous waterfalls and reflecting pools, each an acre in size and set within the footprints of the original Twin Towers. The names of all those that died on September 11th are etched in the memorial. After paying their heartfelt respects, a welcome break from Mother Nature when the veterans go inside the museum. After passing through mandatory security screening, the veterans are taken to the museum's auditorium. Old Glory Honor Flight President Chris Burkers reminds them of their historic presence here as the first ever group of Honor Flight veterans.
It's new, this is different. GWAT, this is the first memorial to the global war on terror. This is your memorial. This is why you raised your hand. The trip might be hard for some of you. And what it gives the rest of us being here with you is a frame of reference, a perspective that we can't get touring this on our own. That's what our special guests and that's what our veterans gives everyone else. And we appreciate that. Thank you.
Burkers also reminds the veterans to not only remember those they lost in war, but to talk about them.
When you tell your story, people will listen. When you share your story, you honor their lives. Every year at the Vietnam Wall, every name is said out loud. Here at the memorial, every year, every name is said out loud. You die twice. The first time is your physical death. The second time is the last time your name is said out loud.
That's the conversation I had in the last moment, what I thought was the last moment of my life.
One of the featured speakers the vets hear from is retired New York City firefighter Tim Brown.
If you were a New York City firefighter in Special Operations Command around 9 a.m. on Tuesday morning, September 11, 2001, it was your death sentence.
Brown only survived because he had left the South Tower to find more paramedics to assist the growing number of injured evacuees in the lobby.
And just as we rounded that corner, we were about 20 feet from the door of the South Tower on the sidewalk when it collapsed. Nobody had to look up to know what was happening. That first crack of steel was so loud that it reverberated through the canyons of Lower Manhattan like a bomb.
Brown explains how immediately taking shelter in a nearby building miraculously saved his life. He then tells the veterans that their service honored the 343 firefighters and 60 police officers that died as heroes that day.
We cannot say thank you to you guys enough for taking that flag from us and serving justice and never forgetting. So to you and your families, with all your struggles, think back to this day with Will, the story Will told, the story I told, and how grateful and thankful we are to you guys for coming here to New York to honor us with your presence. We will never forget you. Thank you.
It's a powerful message and provides perspective these veterans have long needed to hear.
Amazing guests that we have seen thus far. To put into exact words what it means, it's speechless. My jaw has been dropped. Tears of just complete pride and honor.
It's quite eye-opening, and then you hear a lot of the same things of, you know, the perseverance and the resilience and the coming back and the keep going and the push forward, and it's like getting a big hug.
It brings back all the memories of everything that you did the day when we heard about this on September 11th when we found out, and it brings you back in time. But hearing the stories that we've heard so far today, you know, it gives you hope.
After a group photo with the honored guests, it's time for the veterans to head underground into the museum. Thousands of artifacts trigger painful memories of 9/11's tremendous carnage and destruction. It's hard for the veterans to see, the most somber and difficult part of their time in New York.
This was a hard day. Like I said, I guess when I was a 18-year-old kid, and it's just something that you live through, but New York is so far removed from Wisconsin. You're like, oh, okay, whatever, right? But then today was coming back, and it's almost like a full circle, like, this is what this is, like, these are the things that happen, these people, like the names, and then this is a direct reflection of why I deployed and the people I lost. It's hard.
And yet as they take in the weight of the exhibits, one thing is becoming clear. With so many of these veterans suffering from PTSD,
it's always a struggle. It never goes away.
This honor flight is making a difference.
You can see the light and some of the, you know, the air come breathe back into the room in some of these vets, and they're around fellow brothers and sisters, some people they served with, some people they didn't, and they're making new friendships and new memories and stuff that's giving them joy and passion in life again that maybe they were missing before.
And on this night, as they head off for dinner and gather overlooking the 9/11 memorial, some much-needed peace is evident. Smiles return.
Cheers.
And there's a newfound commitment to honor those they lost in war.
Just keep saying their names, and we'll never forget them.
When we come back, the veterans play tourist in New York City and cap off their journey with a powerful address from a Medal of Honor recipient. After a highly emotional day at the 9/11 Memorial and Museum, 59 Northeast Wisconsin veterans who fought in the global war on terror wake up with an appreciation for what this day has in store. It begins with a walk to Battery Park.
It's easier for you to come to me than me to try to come amongst all of y'all, so, madam, you're welcome.
The Old Glory folks did a really good job, you know, putting this trip together and giving us a balance of, you know, things of meaning and reflection yesterday, and, you know, what's not to reflect about, you know, the Statue of Liberty.
On board the ferry to Liberty Island, someone Michael Gay knows very well, his wife Tracy, a fellow Navy veteran.
It's special. It's special, but I also want us to be known as our individual service, but we're a married couple as well.
The journey across New York Harbor takes around 20 minutes.
Ellis Island is our next stop. Ferries depart every 25 minutes.
Once on the island, the veterans climb nearly 200 stairs to reach Lady Liberty's pedestal area. It's yet another opportunity for them to bond.
Getting back together is huge because you kind of forget that you have that camaraderie, that you have that community. We're all going to support each other. We just forgot where we are, and some of us don't know where to find each other. So it's these opportunities of getting back together that we make new friends, we meet with old friends, and that's where the healing, the true healing comes into play.
Taking in the spectacular view.
At least I'm not crying today, so.
Nick Krevillian is still mesmerized by the powerful stories shared by 9/11 first responders the day before.
What I saw and what I heard yesterday, I guarantee that they saved lives talking to us. This group here, we've all went through our own struggles coming home from Iraq, Afghanistan, and they saved some lives talking to us yesterday.
Before leaving the island,
Can everybody see me?
a group photo is taken at the base of the Statue of Liberty. Following lunch, another excursion on foot. The veterans are headed to the top of the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere.
You just feel so small.
Inside One World Trade Center, the veterans pass through security before a 47-second elevator ride with 3D animation.
Welcome to One World Observatory.
A short video is then shown before the grand reveal. With majestic views of New York City and beyond, the veterans realize this building stands as a symbol of their service.
What we did was for a reason and why we did it and all the people we did it with.
A bucket list item for all, this moment has special meaning for Trevor Anderson.
So this is us on top of the World Trade Center back in like 90, 91 time frame.
One of the Twin Towers.
Yep, on top of the Twin Towers and observation desk.
Just a little boy in the photo celebrating his birthday with his family, Trevor made a vow on 9/11.
That's what helped fuel me to join the military because of the attack, because I wasn't going to let some come here take down these buildings and then do nothing about it.
A feeling shared by all the men and women on this honor flight. Back on the ground, Kyle Sherwood can't wait for what's next.
David Bellavia, Medal of Honor winner. I actually served with him, and I haven't seen him in 20 years, so he's going to be at the dinner tonight, and I can't explain that. We're brothers, you know.
As the only living Medal of Honor recipient who served in Iraq, Bellavia's heroism is legendary.
In Fallujah, he took down a whole house of insurgents by himself and saved his whole squad, basically.
Sherwood is named in Bellavia's latest book, and as the veterans gather together, Bellavia shares why.
I heard this story about a vehicle that we lost from 2nd Platoon, and we were right at the end of our deployment, and that was like a boot in the throat. Losing guys at the end, it's the worst feeling in the world. And all I heard was, we lost 5. What happened? What was the story? And they told me about Sherwood and how that guy did everything he could, and how there's a soldier that we have today, and there are little boys that have a dad because of you.
Bellavia tells the veterans that seeing the 9/11 memorial is seeing why they served. He also challenges them to think more about their legacy and encouraging today's youth to join the military.
Legacy is not free appetizers at Applebee's. Legacy is not getting in for a discount at the movie theater. Legacy is reminding every young person walking around what this country is about. Everyone's always like, what can I do for veterans? You know what you can do for veterans? Be one.
It's more than a feel-good moment. It's another moment of healing on a trip filled with them.
I guess I never attached my service to the 9/11 as much as it really is. And
has this been emotional for you?
Yeah.
Still to come, the veterans say goodbye to New York and return to an emotional welcome home. Before they arrived in New York City, their service post 9/11 and the global war on terror seemed a little murky in the minds of many of these Northeast Wisconsin veterans. But on buses headed to the airport, that's no longer the case. After checking in and arriving at their gate, one final gathering for a group photo. And just like their arrival at Newark Liberty International Airport,
We would like to thank the Old Glory for all your years of service to the United States of America. Once again, thank you for choosing Allegiant Air, where together we fly.
the veterans are saluted in their departure. The return flight is a time for reflection and rest. On the landscape below, forests and farm fields replace concrete and buildings, a true sign the veterans are getting close to home. And after an extremely bumpy touchdown in New Jersey, there's an appreciation for the smooth landing in Appleton. And it doesn't take long for the veterans to realize that a massive crowd is waiting to greet them. Family and friends on hand to welcome home their heroes. Embraces and hugs haven't felt this good in a long time.
It was heavy because when I first came home, and my retention NCO picked me up from the airport. So to have my oldest son here meant a ton.
As the veterans soak in their welcome home, they understand they now have a new mission.
The mission is to put ourselves out there for other individuals, to be their advocate, to help them with their journey and their support, and trying to bridge that gap to be able to say you're not alone.
A commitment made possible because of a journey. Old Glory Honor Flight's Freedom to Liberty Tour, a mission of healing. Ask any of these veterans and they'll tell you, mission accomplished, mission complete.
They really answer that question of like, why did we go? You know, and when they said they passed the baton to us, that really drove it home. Like, this is why I did it.
This really was healing, and that's what it was meant to be, right? A healing experience, and I think I needed it. And we bonded from the moment we hit the airport on Thursday, and that's what veterans do, right? You do like a secret nod, a secret handshake, and you're friends for life. And I think this is going to change all of our lives.
To further illustrate this honor flight's impact, on Monday morning, the very first day after returning home, 7 veterans sought mental health counseling at the VA, and they certainly won't be the only ones. For photojournalist Bill Kumbalik, I'm Jeff Alexander. Thank you for watching this mission of healing. And tomorrow on Veterans Day, make sure to give one a hug.